I'll quickly repeat. Enums are introduced in JDK 1.5, and enum is a keyword. Enum can become a member of a .java file like classes or interfaces. For enums also, compiler will generate the .class files. Okay. So the main definition of the enum is enums are mainly used for representing a group of fixed number of similar kind of constant. This is the most important definition that we need to mention. A group of fixed number of similar kind of constants. For example, all weekdays in as one group, right? That is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, representing all months from January to December, and representing the car or bike segments like hatchback, sedans, SUVs, XUVs, TVs, right? And genders, male, female, third gender. Designation of a company, yes, it will be like associate engineer, senior engineer, assistant engineer, right? Team lead, manager, director, CTO, CFO, CEO, right? You can add few more, but at the end of the day, it's all fixed, right? And then status fields, especially. We mostly use enums for status in any of the project, right? For example, if you take any of your bank account, right? A bank account can be in the active state, inactive state, or dormant state, or if there are any other statuses, right? If the bank has defined, we can add that as well, right? More points inside a enum can add any number of, all of them will be the constants by using comma as a operator, as a operator. So the enums must be unique. Doesn't allow the duplicates. Another important point. So enums, let's say when you are representing the all the weekdays in a group, you cannot put two Mondays or two Tuesdays, right? Everything has to be unique. No duplicates are allowed. Every enum constant is a valid Java identifier. Java identifier. Identifier means what? For example, when you create a variable int I is a identifier. Right? Similarly, all the enums are also identifier. Every enum must have at least one constant. Not create a enum without a single constant. You should have at least one constant. Manage enum constants, can choose attributes, constructors, methods, instance blocks, and static blocks. Can use anything to manage them. Okay. And point enum can also be developed inside a class also. You see one by one each and everything you see. Let's look at a simple program. If you see here, while creating the class itself, right, I'm doing the right click, create Java class, right? If you see the options here, you will see the class interface enum annotation. We have learned about the classes, we have learned about the interfaces, now we are learning about the enum, right? So here I will say the enum name is just like test, right? You see here, now it is showing us public enum test. Public enum test. While creating any classes, we used to get public class and then the class name, right? Here in the enums, we are getting the public enum and then this is the enum name. Okay. In the interfaces, we get public interface. Yeah, if it is the interface, it will be interface. It will be, if it is class, it will be class. It will be, if it is enum, it will be enum here, right? Then the name of the enum, right? Now let's try to create few constants. One, one, two, on three. This is a simple enum which has the three constants, that is con1, con2, con3, right? If you remember earlier, while creating any variables, you used to give the data types. Here you don't have to give any data types, right? Directly you can specify all the names of the constants that you want to specify with the comma separator, with the comma separator. Okay. And one more important point here, every enum constant, every enum constant is a public, static and final by default. We don't have to specify each enum as a public separately. By default, all the enum constants are public. By default, all the enum constants are static. By default, all the enum constants are final. So what does it mean when I say public, static and final? Right? Public means what? That means you should be able to use anywhere inside your project. Right? There are no restrictions for all the public members. Right? That's what we learned about the public. Then static. Static means what? If it is a static, we don't have to create a object to use it, right? We can just specify the class name and then access it. Similarly, if we want to use this enum constants, we can just specify the enum name, that is test.con1. That's all. And then final. If a variable is final, what does it mean? You cannot reinitialize, right? Similarly, if a constant is defined, you cannot change the value of this. You cannot change the value of this. Let's write another simple program to understand even better, right? Let's say, for example, I will say month. Here I will select enum. So I do enum here. So I will say Tom web April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. These are the enum constants of month. I'll create a manager class for this. How do I use it? I'll just say month manager. This time it will be class only. Okay. I'll write simple main method phvm month m1 equal to which month you want to specify. See, I'm not doing new month here. Okay, cannot create the constructor for this, right? Because as I said, enums are static, right? If it is static, we don't have to create the objects, right? We can simply initialize or access with the class name, that is enum name. So that is month dot, you can select any of the month here. So all these months that are being appearing here are whatever we had already defined here, right? You don't see anything else. Month dot, yeah. Okay. Now just print it. M1. Next I'll create another one. Month M2 equal to month dot something like December I'll put. Next is out of, let's run the program. What did you get? For M1 it is January. For M2 we are getting December because that's what we have initialized to M2, right? Any doubts guys so far? Clear? I'm going to write another one. Let's say I will say date. I was mentioning what are the days? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, semicolon, right? All the enum constants must be separated by comma operator, and if it is the last one, it has to be ended by the semicolon. This is mandatory. I create a manager class for this. A manager, SVM, a B1 equal to a dot Wednesday. I'll select out of, I run it. I get the output as Wednesday. Right? I got Wednesday. Right? So, what is the main purpose of this enums? Now we understand the definition and we also understood the purpose of it, right? The main advantage of it. What is the main advantage of the enums? To achieve the uniformity, uniformity among the developers, we can use enums. What is uniformity here, right? For example, we are all working in a project, okay? In a task that I am working, I have to use the month names, okay? So what I do is, since I am lazy, what I'll use, I'll just say John, Feb, Mar, April. It's like first three letters of the month name because I am lazy, right? Some other developer also will get the some other task, and he also has to use the month names in one of his requirement. Since he is very energetic, what he does is he'll use the full name: January, February, March, April, May, like that with the full spelling, right? We'll have one more among us. He is even more lazier than me, and he wants to use 01, 02, 03, and then up to 12, the numbers of the month, right? So when we have to use, right, when we have to combine all these things, it will be very difficult to manage all these things, right? One developer has written Jan, Feb, March, other developer has written January, February, March, and some other developer has written 010203, right? So we are losing the uniformity, right? So to achieve the uniformity, we can use the we'll use the enums, right? To achieve the uniformity, we'll use the enums in anything. For example, I'm sure all of you must have been experienced with the Flipkart or Amazon, right? So when you make an order, what are the various statuses you can see, right? Order placed, right? And then order being dispatched, and order in transit, and out for delivery, right? So these are the various common statuses, right? Since I am working for the electronic goods in the Amazon, I'll not write different statuses, right? Or somebody is serving the different things in the Amazon platform, same thing, he should not use the different statuses, right? It has to be uniform, it has to be similar, it has to be a group, right? So that's the main advantage of the enums. Okay, if we have any enum like this, so if any new developer comes and joins, if you have to if he has to use the month names, what he does is first he will check in the project, did we already created any enum with the month names. If it is already created, he will directly use it, just like this in his task, right? If it is not there, he will create and then he will use it. So this is the advantage of the enums. So what was the other example that I had told for the enum constants, right? Vendor. Vendors can be male, female, third, vendor. We create a manager class for this, vendor manager, same thing, exactly same thing. PSUM, vendor male equal to, this is the, here it is the name of the variable. Okay, name of the variable. So vendor dot male equal to vendor dot out of out of on the program and see the male and female. Very simple. Let's write another program. Let's learn about one of the point that we had written already. Enums can also be developed inside a class. Right? Let's see how this can be developed. Okay. Enum P, I would say. Or I would say active and create manager class. Yes. How do we create So how do I use the status now? Can I use the status? I cannot use the where it is showing form.finops.app4.enums.a, right? So a dot status it should be. You can directly either use it that way, but just for understanding purpose, it is coming as a dot status because status is available in the class a, right? And why we are putting dot and then status? As I mentioned in another point, every enum constant and enum, every enum constant and enum is a public static and final by default, right? So since enum is static by default, you need to access this by using the operator dot, right? Dot status active equal to status dot active. We are getting a dot status dot active, right? Sort of commit, get the active. Here now let's write another program similar to this. Here also I'm going to create within the class only. Class B enum data I will say unique state AP Karnataka Tamil Nadu. Yes. Now I'll create a manager class. This is our state. There are so many states here. Our state. This is the our state. Third state AP state dot the different. First to put it in main method, right? AP dot. You see, you are seeing all the methods equals hash code toString get class notify all wait, right? All the object classes are available. In addition to this, there are few more methods, right? What is that? One is the ordinal method. Ordinal method. What is the return type of the ordinal method? It is int. Let's try to use and then see what is the definition of this. AP dot ordinal. I have not written this, right? So this method is available in the class enums. In the enums, you will have the ordinals, right? Let's run the program and then see the ordinal value of AP is 0. Now I'll create other in state TS or TN, okay, Tamil Nadu equal to state dot TN, TN dot ordinal value. So what can be the output now? 2, right? For AP it was 0, for TN it is 2. If you see, it is starting from the 0. AP is 0, Karnataka is 1, TN is 2, TS is 3. If you put the TS, right, you should get the 3. So the ordinal values will always start from 0. Will always start from 0. Ordinal values will always start from 0 and in the increment in the same order. TS equal to state dot TS dot TS dot ordinal. Yes, you should get 3. That means ordinal is nothing but indexing value. Ordinal is nothing but indexing value. Ordinal that returns indexing value. Indexing always starts from the 0, right? Indexing always starts from the 0. Let's write another program. Class C. Inside class C, I create a enum C. I just put this name, right? Let's say here I have the constants of 1, C2, C3, C4 of the enum constant. Right? In the same class, I create the yes. In the C enum, there are some that's available. If you just put C enum, right? C enum, right? We have these many methods: value of, value, and value of, which take 2 arguments. All anyway C1, C2, C3, just like accessing, right? So let's see C values. What do we get? What is the data type of this? If you don't know, just select it, press Alt V. Okay. Get the values. Array of C enum. Array of C enum. Right? Values returns the array of C enum. That is all the objects. Right? Array of all the objects. Right? So we can do the iteration on the arrays, right? For I equal to 0, I less than values dot length p plus 2. So here I am not specifying any number, but I am specifying the length of the array, right? Let's say if the length of this values is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it runs the loop till number 5, so it will print everything, right? Value of is how we specify. What I value will be 0, so value of 0 is C1. Second value of 1, value of 1 is C2. Next value of 3, that is C3. Next value of 4, that is C4. Next value of 5, that is C5. C1, C2, C3, C4, C5. I create another one, but I just copy paste. I just need a small gap. I'll remove this. Name it as D now. value of you can pass the enum constants also for the value of method. So you'll get the D1, right? C1. Clear? But if you put, let's say, for example, put C6, which is not available, right? So do you see any compilation errors here? No, you don't see the compilation errors. Run it. At the time of running, you get the error.